A true leader is a strong communicator, caring, consistent, and motivational. The one word that describes me the best is energy, because when I am passionate about a project and really want to do something, I throw my body, heart, and soul into it. All in. That's two words, but I think they would describe me the same as I would describe myself, because I am all in when it's something for my friends or for my family or for the community. If it's something that I'm very connected to, I am all in, and I think I see myself as the way most people see me. The greatest impact on my life has not been one single person, but family, and it's immediate family growing up, and it's my family today. My mother was very good about making sure that we allowed ourselves to connect with those who were not as fortunate as we were. Whether it was a senior citizen who was in a nursing home and who might be lonely, or whether it was a friend or a relative that was struggling with a health or a mental health or a physical issue, she was always reaching out and helping others and bringing them into our home and taking us to them. And my father was right beside her. He was her sidekick, and he was the same. So both of them showed us that we should be thinking of others, and we should be reaching out and spending time with them. The experience that my dad brought to the picture was a very quiet stability. And he was very much a partner with my mother in that they supported my community efforts from a very young age. For example, they both came on Girl Scout trips, camping trips, and trips where we were giving back to the community. So my mother would come with Mrs. Perkins, who was our leader, and help her organize the girls and be with us and structure whatever it was we were trying to do and accomplish. And my dad would come, and he would come on all the trips, and he mostly was the driver, because we had a big, wide, and long Chrysler Newport, which was a big, wide car. And he would help drive, and he would take our sleeping bags and whatever it was. But he was always there too, and I thought that, now that I look back on that, I think that's very unique. I try to instill in my family a lot of what I had in my family growing up with my mother and father and sisters, and that is support for each other and a strong connection with my husband. Again, my mother and father were very much a team. And although my father wasn't as vocal as my mother, he always was there to support her in whatever she did. And I really love that about Pat and I, is that I feel we are a team, and I feel that that's what I wanted in a marriage, is what I saw from my parents. And it wasn't anything glamorous that they were doing. It was just the things that you do as you do it together, and you support each other. And I really feel like Pat and I have that type of a relationship. I feel like when we first got married, when I was 23 and he was 24, I was supporting him. He was in medical school, and I was working and paying for the rent and the electricity and groceries, and that was what I wanted to do. I didn't even question it. And then through residency and fellowship and moving from Pittsburgh to Cleveland to St. Louis to now Jacksonville, it was a lot of support of his goals. And then when I had an opportunity to accomplish what I was hoping to do, to go back to school and earn my master's degree, he supported me, and he still supports me in terms of board work on the theater and teaching, so that's the type of a partnership I saw growing up I really wanted in my home, and I feel like we do make a point to do that. My work in the community to better the life of others was really spearheaded after I had a serious health issue 5 years ago, and I severely injured my back, and I had to have 2 back surgeries. And it's still emotional for me because coming out of that, I learned so much. And what I learned was that how precious life is, and how your whole life can be turned around. I felt like the rug was pulled out from under me for 2 years. But when I had the grace to have the angels that showed up and helped me, I realized that that I want to be an angel now. Having good health means everything. If you don't feel well, if you're in pain, you really don't live. And that's what's connected me to Volunteers in Medicine as well, because after going through a health crisis and then learning about Volunteers in Medicine and the service that they offer to the working, vulnerable, when you don't feel good and you feel really lousy, you feel scared, you feel alone, you feel like you lose faith, you feel sometimes desperate. And to not have that service available, I actually have, my husband is a radiologist, and I had a close family member in medicine, and I still felt all of those feelings. Not his fault, just that's the way I felt. And I ended up having wonderful care and quality health care. And I'm thinking about those that perhaps wouldn't have that, and how you would just lose so much of yourself and so much of just where your life will go. It's important to give back and pay it forward because it makes you a better person. It makes you feel connections and relationships. And for example, when I'm teaching my students, it gives me a feeling of not just learning as much from them as they learn from me, but it's knowing that I've made an impact on their lives as they have on mine. And there's nothing more really than that, to have an impact on someone's life in a positive way is really all that matters. The individual that I admire most outside of my family is Oprah. And the reason is because as I was coming out of my injury and back into my life, I actually went to her Live Your Best Life weekend in Washington, D.C., and a friend of mine, Galila, grabbed me and said, "Leslie, you have to come to this with me." And it helped me so much to breathe and reconnect with myself and really learn about what mattered, and to refocus and remotivate. And I continue to read the O magazine every month from cover to cover. I continue to do meditations that Oprah and Deepak Chopra do together, and she stayed with me. Her connection has stayed with me in other areas of my life. I know words to almost every song, particularly 70s and 80s. I just know the title, I typically know the artist, and I know every word of the song. And I love it because I'm always, so proud of myself when I remember exactly the words to the song, and I love that about myself.